Hi guys, welcome back to the show where we're bringing the latest in AI news and sharing our views. Will, what have we got today?
Well, that was a very brief intro. Sometimes we do a short one, sometimes we do a long one. Let me share my
Go with the
screen.
flow,
We'll go with the flow. This
rock
one's
and
good.
roll.
I think you're gonna Ben. You can always trust Ben to rock and roll. Let me share my screen. Don't know if you've heard about this one, Ben. This one's a good one because I think it highlights quite a few things that's happening within the AI space. So OpenAI, my screen's here, so I'll read a little bit off of it. OpenAI code red situation will go on even after possible ChatGPT 5.0 launch this week. Here is why. So there's a couple of lead up things. Obviously, Ben, you'll have been aware because we've covered it, that Gemini 3 came out from Google, and very soon after that, Anthropic released Opus 4.5, both insane models, and they kind of took the world by storm from Frontier Labs. They really are state of the art. I mean, the more you use these models, you realize what a monumental leap forward in the technology it is, even just in how it feels to operate. And this kind of scared OpenAI because, I mean, at the time when Gemini 3 came out, Sam Altman made quite a funny like X post where he said, "Congratulations to Google. You know, so Gemini 3 is a great model," and it was you could almost feel like the gritted teeth behind the scenes for him saying that. But what that's led to actually is a real panic within OpenAI, and Sam Altman released a code red alert to all employees at the company, and this code red is basically all hands on deck.
Sorry, Will. Did he have like a big button that went beep, 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 beep? What is this? Like,
I know,
red?
all this corporate nonsense.
God.
But essentially, all you need to know is that it basically means it's all going down at OpenAI. They need to do something. They need all hands on deck. It needs to happen because genuinely the world has been taken by storm, not only by these frontier models, but again, even over the last few days, we've had the new Mistral models, which we haven't talked about on the show, but the new Mistral models from the French company, Mistral AI. Amazing small models. Yes, they released their DevStral models, which is for coding. They were incredible. And there's one that's 24 billion parameters, which is truly state of the art and beating models, triple the size. It's very, very, very powerful. So this has caused this race with OpenAI because they have suddenly just fallen behind. And this code red alert, as you can see here, has basically meant that OpenAI has to pace up the work on new models and sort of consumer product. And this is kind of worrying to me. And this is a fear of mine with especially the Frontier Labs, that if this carries on kind of thing and the competition heats up, because it is this race, suddenly we're issuing these code red alerts where they're going to rush to release a model that wasn't have to. So GPT 5.2 is rumored to be released, ASAP. And we're rushing through what is now getting to pretty high levels of intelligence. And then suddenly GPT 5.2 comes out. OpenAI has been sitting on it as a model that is state of the art, but they've been doing their safety testing. So if they've rushed through their safety testing is to release this model, it means is it properly ready for public consumption? Oh, and then Anthropic issues a code red because suddenly GPT 5.2 is insane. And I think it's a very stark reminder that at the moment the AI space is very well led by these frontier companies, but they are a monopoly on it. And it's a reminder of our mission, actually, that we should be building, local first, privacy focused AI and distributing the sovereignty of that development, again, to make sure that we're building this correctly, because things like code, the term code red, it's a superlative, but it does worry me at the same time.
Yeah, no, Will, it's really interesting. But you know what? This all stems, and I'm writing a few essays about sort of like ethics and AI and things like that, which I'm sort of publishing weekly. The whole mechanism, I talk about this in one of the essays, like the whole foundation, it's misaligned because, this is all being driven by, the pressure for investment, the pressure for growth, the pressure for profits, the pressure for market capture. And it's all being driven from that angle, which means there's going to be shortcuts like you sort of touched on. And rather than, okay, let's make sure we're doing the right thing. Let's make sure we've got the right safety precautions in place. Let's make sure we're not releasing something that could as this intelligence gets incredible, go off tilter and do something that we're not expecting, because we haven't actually just had time to consider what we're doing. It's literally a financial race, and that's ultimately what this is about. And whenever that occurs, there's going to be shortcuts and consequences. So I think you're absolutely right, Will, to point this out. Where does this lead us to? I mean, that's the problem, is it just escalates and escalates, and it's really, really, from leaders in this space, it's really disconcerting, because you can see as plain as day, this is all being driven from that demand from their leadership, from their team, from the investors, that they have to be number one, and come what may, they'll just do whatever it takes, sod the consequences. Let's just do it. And the thing is, even if the leadership team don't say that is the case, the pressure is put on the teams below, the management below, the people who work under that management, and it filters through within the organization as a culture. So then that person who's just a regular employee, who's tasked to do a certain thing, is under incredible pressure just to push it through, and he's going to, they'll be taking shortcuts. They won't be probably doing the same amount of due diligence or whatever. And interesting, when you think back to when this was, AI was on the scene. Do you remember Google were holding back?
Yeah.
They were going, well, I'm not sure we should be moving this fast. I think we need to have more consideration.
I don't know if you remember Bard, their first sort of iteration, even predated Gemini. They were sitting in it. It was in the dungeon, the back alleys of Google, sitting on a shelf, waiting to have something. Google literally, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they even said, this technology isn't ready for the consumer facing stuff. We'll put it on a shelf and we'll sit on it for a bit. And it was only after ChatGPT came out and took the world by absolute storm did they suddenly have to, again, that race started, and they had to push and struggle and get something out without going through all of the necessary due process to do it properly. And back then, safety of this AI was less of a concern. It was more what it might say to someone more than super intelligence. But the point still stands. The point still stands is that this race meant that they weren't focusing on the technology. They were focusing on chasing profits and not falling behind.
Yeah, grabbing market share, sort of trying to hoover up as much domination as they possibly can.
I think this is, and I am thinking, quite naively probably. I mean, I'm under no illusion of that, but I would love to see a shift where this is not happening. For example, and we've spoken about it on the show before briefly, is we're heavily involved in something called the Nano Collective. It's an initiative that we set up. It is an open source collective. It doesn't have any sort of revenue stream or funding or backing or anything like that, but it's an open source community. And we build privacy first, local first AI, and on top of that, which is obviously what we're passionate about, we also develop Whisper, which is sort of more of a commercial side to it, but without compromising on the privacy of individuals. But on top of that, with the collective, we also are all about building community and building, this open source, building software that is for the people. And as I said, it might be naive, but it's growing traction. And I think this is a really good way to frame and work on this technology, because I have fascinating discussions with developers all over the world contributing to the Nano Collective, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And not once really do we have a conversation about money, or whether we need to monetize this, or how can we optimize retention, which is things that we would talk about in any sort of commercial sense. There, we purely talk about making a great product, a safe product, a useful thing, and we really focus on the technology. And it's such a refreshing thing, and I really believe that we should pioneer and push for more of this within the AI space. Actually break apart the frontier monopoly and build it more in the public domain, because it's a technology that's so fundamentally game changing and humanity changing. That's my take on it.
No, absolutely, mate. I think inevitably things will become decentralized, and I think we're seeing this pattern play out from where you got sort of corporations, governments, institutions, centralized. Inevitably, they just become so bloated, so fat. It's an inevitable consequence that things eventually become decentralized, because that's the inevitable path that these things go, and it should be. This needs to be a decentralized, humanity helping, humanity benefiting technology. And the only way that it can be sort of safely and ethically done is by making it decentralized. I have no doubt. So this is, we're definitely on that path, and it's the path that should be followed. It shouldn't be controlled or manipulated by, any one person, any one entity, any one CEO, or anything like that. It's too dangerous, it's too powerful, and it's too important. And I think the more people wake up to these dangers of centralization.
Yes.
And centralization, covers lots of areas of the world we see all the time. It inevitably creates sort of challenges and problems for society. So, Will, I think you nailed it there. Well, listen,
Yeah,
I think
that's a nice summary, mate.
Let's wrap it up. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Where do you see this all heading? What do you, are we blowing this out of all proportion? Is this red alert, it's just, just a business trying to sort of compete on a, in a free market world. So let us know what you think. It's something to be aware of. It's something to think about. It's good to sort of, get the grey matter sort of going first thing in the morning after a cup of coffee. But other than that, say hi in the comments as well. Give us a like, subscribe, do all those amazing things, and we'll catch up with you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Take care.